Today I will talk about capital punishment. Carlos de Luna was a man who was convicted of a murder in 1983. He was convicted of murdering a 24-year-old gas station attendant and was sentenced to death. He was killed by lethal injection and was wrongfully convicted. He was actually innocent of this crime. And there are many people that face this problem in not only California but in America. The Frontline article published February 9th, 1999 states that capital punishment was established in order to punish people for their crimes. This was a deterrent to stop criminals from committing crimes. However, this has been a very controversial topic even now because some people do agree with this and some people don't. So today I will argue that we should abolish the death penalty in order to eliminate injustices. There are many problems with the capital punishment. The first is that it's very expensive. There are many steps that need to be taken in order to plan this execution. According to the Journalist Resource article published May 10th, 2019, these steps include planning and preparation, like somebody's last meal that can be very big. Then there's the execution process itself. This needs doctors and equipment, which is very expensive. Then there's things like the post-execution procedures and things like that. So we can see that there's a lot that goes into it. California spends over $4 billion administering death penalties, according to the Atlantic article published May 5th, 2014. In California, the government spends $7 billion a year, according to the New York Times article published March 12, 2019, on their normal prisoners, meaning that they spend about $60,000 per prisoner because there's about 115,000 prisoners in California. However, since they do spend $4 billion a year on just the death penalty inmates, there's only 774 people on death row in California. That means that they spend about $5 million on death row inmates. This is very expensive because not only of the procedures that I talked about earlier, but because they have to actually stay in jail for a really long time until they are executed. Some people stay in jail for over 10 years or more, waiting for their death, but they don't get executed yet, which makes the government spend a lot of money. The last and most important problem is the execution of innocent people. According to the New York Times article published September 14th, 2014, since 1973, there has been 165 people on death row exonerated, meaning that these people have been found not guilty, but were actually going to be executed for a crime they did not commit. And I think this is the most controversial part of the capital punishment because although we do want people to pay for their crimes, there are people that are being convicted of a crime that they did not commit because we don't know for sure if they're telling the truth, especially when we don't have a lot of evidence. So I'm going to talk about what causes people to support capital punishment. The first being that, like I said before, it stops people from committing crimes. However, according to the Corrections Today article published February 1st, 2014, there has been no study that actually shows that this works. Criminals do not think before they commit a crime. They don't think that they're going to die. They just do it. It's premeditated or just the spur of the moment. Another reason is revenge. According to the LA Times published November 7, 2016, a lot of people support capital punishment because of revenge. However, capital punishment is not supposed to be a revenge. It's supposed to be a punishment. And this should be things like a life sentence, because just because somebody took a life of somebody else, they should be put into life sentence instead of death, because it is quick and they do not think about the crimes they commit. It's an easy way to go, and however, I don't think that should be the solution. So I'm going to talk about the solutions. Like I said, prisoners should face a life sentence. According to the Prison Insider article published April 13, 2016, criminals do not want to spend their life in jail. They find no hope when they're sentenced to life in jail, and they do not want to be there, which is more of an incentive to not commit this crime because of how miserable their life will be in jail. Another is solitary. Although I am not for solitary, I think solitary is another deterrent that should be a replacement for death penalty, because as we know, solitary can have a lot of mental issues, and people should feel more discouraged to commit these crimes because of how intense solitary actually is. Some people actually feel guilty at the time of the murder or the trial, and then after they don't feel guilty. And I feel like solitary is a good place for them to actually realize what they're doing and not just find a way to get rid of this problem by dying. So today I talked about the problems and the cause and the solution of capital punishment, and I think we should abolish this problem in order to reduce the costs of death penalty, which could go to another thing like schools or homeless, wherever it needs to go, and also to stop wrongful executions like the one of Carlos de Luna. I think this should be a really good solution. These should be a really good solution instead of, especially for the innocent. Thank you.